I think I can be an MCA. So I'm going back to Shir Ward in Hamisi to tell people there to vote for me. When you appear there, you tell them, you know what, I have come, I want to be your leader. Everybody is looking at you and wondering, who is this one? Where did you come from? Who is your father? You know, everybody, they are trying to analyze where you come from because they've never seen you. And so I think for the agenda of youth in this country to advance to another level, we've already exposed the rage thing. We've already exposed the Amandamano thing. They've known all those tricks. So right now, try to come on the streets to Andamana. They already know how you want to go about it, and they will try to silence you. So come, let's have a structure, a strategy, and say, this is the direction we are going. But first thing first, remove the mind of money from your agenda. If you put that, it is done.
Okay, let me go to
just a little for Mheshimiwa. I think Mheshimiwa would help the youth of this country so much if he decided, and the rest of those who are privileged to be in parliament, to decide and say, why not we change the structures of Kenya and say every Kenyan who is eligible for an ID, once you get that national identity card, you are eligible to vote. You see, we remove this thing of saying after some time we are going to register voters. So long as you have your national ID, can you be eligible? Can you go and vote using your ID? And that we shall have everybody feeling part of this, because sometimes we want to vote, but I'm working in Nairobi, I have an interest in Hamisi. When they are registering, I can't have even ruhusa from work to go and work and get registered. When elections come, we are locked out. Nothing is happening.
Mheshimiwa, picking from where Alulu has left, and especially when it comes to the money, the youth, yes, indeed, they have the voice. I remember, I say 2024 was a Damascus moment for us as a country. And after that, we have seen even the drama we saw in Butere, just some cries, you know. We need to be heard. And yes, they can be heard, but unfortunately how it works, especially in developing countries, Kenya being an example, is that a lot of money moves around, and you know it.
Yes. Yeah, first of all, we need to sit down and ask ourselves, how many members of parliament have? Basically, it's because he used to mingle and relate very well with electorates and residents around his constituency. Another example is Toto, who used to just get a boda rider somewhere, and she's traversed across the county, and she successfully vied for the seat. I was there as a young man, and I still got elected against heavyweights.
You didn't use money, Mheshimiwa.
Heavyweights.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, a sitting member of parliament. When the Mwinzi was there, a renowned journalist, of course, then elect another waziri and another person who was there, nominated member of parliament. So you need to relate very well with where you come from. Don't expect miracles. Getting elected successively is a process, and it doesn't start when you want the seat. It starts when you are a young person, when you are a child. You need to be relating well with people. When you are a child, you need to be available, even if you don't have money, to people. You need to be very respectful to the society. Uphold the principles of integrity, honesty, and transparency.
But Mheshimiwa, looking at the 290 constituency, and if we say that any MP that was elected without even spending a lot of money, we will not even get to 10. You've just mentioned 2. So how do we change that narrative in the country such that young men and women, the Gen Z, realize that we do not even need to get any money from Mheshimiwa? If
they try and base their campaigns on issues, they will be elected. Personally, I can testify I was elected because of issue-based oriented politics. I never a single day mentioned any of my competitor during the campaign period. I never a single day uttered any word insulting anybody. But majority of our young people, especially Gen Z, they have resorted to insults. They have resorted to character assassination. It doesn't take you anywhere. You need to be honest, believe in God, and believe in what you are speaking to people. Once you just tell them and express your issues very clearly, they may not even ask for money to elect you. I've given you good examples. I've given you in our constituency, there's a former member, a former MCA. It's also in my office now. It's called Councillor Merete. He just used to use Peremente to give people.
But
and he never used to have any money.
I want to know if
and they elected him because of issue-based oriented
But Mheshimiwa,
politics.
yourself, you had to move around.
Yes.
Mwingi West is a very big constituency.
Yes.
You also had to have a team that works very close to you.
Yes.
All that needs money.
And
these people, not only do they not have money, some of them don't even have jobs.
If you mobilize the people and tell them you don't have money and I am studying for this, then you'll be consistent without attacking your opponents, you will make it. Okay. Because John Paul Murigi is an example.
Yes.
Toto is another example. And many more are coming. Kenyans are now educated. They can gauge who means what they want. And they can even tell you who is genuine when it comes to issues of electing leaders.
Advice, and my fellow panelists, I know we cannot mention the word youth and leadership and fail to mention the drama, the Butere girls drama. I really don't want to go to the semantics of how everything unfolded. But listening to what these guys had, and actually looking at the play itself, we've had the same things happen earlier. Like we had, I did Shamba la Wanyama by George Orwell. Later on, there were books like A Man of the People. There are a number, even Visiki, which talks about matters, politics and governance. In as much as the government and even the president and the education CS have mentioned that we should not mix politics and arts and education, how do the youth express themselves? Because at the end of the day, remember, if there were Form 3 and Form 4 students in that play this year, there will be voters in 2027.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, it would be a very big problem on my side if I left here without really rebattling what my elders have said, especially about the youth conversation. So I would want you to just allow me a minute to respond to that, then I can be able to come to your question. Now, first of all, the assumption that my two elders make is that youth live in Nairobi. The majority of the young people are actually not in Nairobi. So the imagination that young people live in Nairobi and then they go to vie in the villages and that's why they don't make it is first of all not true. Even the population of Kenya in itself, most of the population is not in Nairobi. So we cannot be able to box and say young people are the ones who actually live in Nairobi. And there is no problem actually with them being in Nairobi and seeking elective seat anywhere because it's their democratic right. So I think that would not be very, very factual. And there are examples that Mheshimiwa has given in terms of who has actually made it to parliament without necessarily having a lot of money, which I perfectly agree with his examples. Actually, one of the people he's actually mentioned, Murigi, was actually given a car by my party leader, the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta. But the issue is we cannot be able to use an outlier as a norm, because it is one case among how many. But then the issue is that money will always be an issue in the politics. Remember, even on party registration, the candidates actually have a fee to pay. And Mheshimiwa actually comes from Wiper Party, and Wiper has some of the highest fees on nominations during the election.
He hasn't actually told us where he got the money, at least 200.
Yeah, he actually avoided that. He actually avoided that. 200,000. And even in the last election, Wiper was, I think, the only party that did not have even an exclusion for youth and PWD. They remained it at that 200,000. So first of all, even before anything else, before you even talk about the money you need for the movement and whatever, you first of all need money for you to even just be on nomination for the political party. You need the money for you to be a candidate at IEBC. So already the subject of money is there. But there is one thing that is also a fact. For as long as the older generation, for as long as life continues to be normal, then the older ones will always have more resources than the younger ones. So if we always anchor this conversation of leadership on money, then we honestly will be telling young people that they actually stand no chance. And that's why for me, I keep telling the young people that let's move the conversation away from money, because the old guards push this conversation towards what is their advantage. Their advantage is that they have the money. And that's why they like making it look as though those who don't have the money have no chance. We as young people must also look at what is our advantage. And our advantage is that number one, we have the numbers. And number two, we have the energy. And number three, we have the strategy. We are the ones with the brain and the mind. Because even the old guards, this money, they're actually spending it on us for them to get there. So let us look at where our advantage is and not spend a lot of time looking at where our disadvantage is.
All right.
And also, even the money conversation, when we use the energy and the wit that we have, we can actually be able to jinx that puzzle. Remember, during the Gen Z crisis, the people raised way over 60 million to be able to finance the operations of the Gen Z at the time. So when we actually are coordinated and united, we can actually be able to even solve the money puzzle. So I like saying that let us not be able to push ourselves into believing that it's all about money, because the old guards want us to believe that it's all about money so that we don't even attempt. There's one thing, when I come to your next question, there's one thing Mheshimiwa said, and I thought that was very bold of him. Yeah. Because as a politician, I think he really tried. It's not easy for a population, for